I was enjoying a perfect summer day at the playground, kids giggling, my granddaughter swinging, when a woman's furious shriek stopped us cold. "You little cheat." In a flash, she slapped a 10-year-old girl with leg braces right in front of us all. The playground, a kaleidoscope of joy in suburban Columbus, Ohio, turned into a stage for one woman's unhinged tantrum, and I couldn't just sit there with my iced coffee and let it slide. It was 2 p.m. on Saturday, July 12, 2025, and the park was buzzing like a beehive. Kids scampered across swings, clambered up climbing structures, and lined up for the big slide, the undisputed king of the playground. Oak trees cast dappled shade over benches where parents chatted or scrolled their phones. Security cameras perched on light poles, silently watching, while a "Play Nice" sign by the entrance fluttered in the breeze, blissfully unaware of the irony about to unfold. I'm Jack Thompson, 55, a retired engineer with a knack for fixing things: broken toasters, grandkids' scraped knees, you name it. Dressed in my trusty navy polo and jeans, I sat on a bench, keeping one eye on my 7-year-old granddaughter, Emily, who was swinging high, her pigtails bouncing like springs. My phone rested beside me, screen dark, and my backpack held a first aid kit, because you never know when a kid's going to eat pavement. I was ready for a skinned knee, not a full-blown spectacle. Enter Karen Mitchell, 45, strutting like she owned the park in her designer sundress, oversized sunglasses perched on her head like a crown, and a leather purse slung over her shoulder. She had that look: sharp cheekbones, sharper tongue, the kind of woman who'd argue with a barista over a missing pump of vanilla. Her 8-year-old son, Tim, darted around, and she barked orders at him like he was her personal assistant. I'd seen her type before, the kind who'd cut you off in traffic and then flip you the bird. Then there was Sarah, the 10-year-old at the heart of this mess. Sweet kid, polite as they come, with leg braces that glinted in the sunlight as she waited patiently for her turn at the slide. She had cerebral palsy, but you wouldn't know it from her smile. She was just another kid wanting to feel the wind on her face as she zoomed down that slide. She stood at the front of the line, clutching the railing, her braces clicking softly as she shifted her weight. The trouble started when Tim, Karen's little prince, decided lines were for peasants. He tried to shove past Sarah, elbowing his way to the slide's ladder. Sarah, calm as a saint, turned to him and said, "Hey, please wait your turn." Her voice was soft, firm, the kind of polite that makes you proud of kids these days. Tim froze, not used to being told no, and that's when Karen's radar locked on. Her heels clicked on the pavement like a countdown to doom as she stormed over, her purse swinging like a wrecking ball. "You little cheat!" Karen snapped, her voice slicing through the playground's hum. Before anyone could blink, her hand cracked across Sarah's face. The slap echoed like a thunderclap, and Sarah stumbled back, her braces clanking against the slide's base. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Emily stopped swinging, her sneakers scuffing the dirt. My coffee nearly slipped from my hand as my jaw hit the bench. Sarah's mother, Lisa, was across the playground in seconds, her sandals slapping the ground as she sprinted to her daughter. "How dare you hit my daughter," she shouted, kneeling beside Sarah, who was blinking back tears, one hand on her reddened cheek. Karen didn't even flinch. She stood there, hands on hips, like she'd just swatted a fly and was waiting for applause. The air was thick with kids' laughter now muted, the creak of swings slowing to a groan. Parents on benches sat up, phones poised like they were about to capture the next viral video. The security cameras whirred quietly, and I swear even the Oaks leaned in, whispering, "Oh, this is gonna be good." I was on my feet before I knew it, my first aid kit forgotten, my heart pounding like I'd just run a sprint. This wasn't just a playground spat, this was wrong, bone deep wrong. Karen's entitlement was a neon sign, flashing, "I'm the boss of this sandbox," and I wasn't about to let her ruin Sarah's day. Lisa was cradling Sarah, her voice shaking with fury, and the crowd was starting to murmur, a low growl of outrage building. Karen's slap wasn't the end, her accusations turned nastier. The playground, once alive with laughter, now felt like a courtroom on the verge of riot. Karen Mitchell, in her swishing sundress, jabbed a finger at Sarah, the 10-year-old with leg braces still shaken from the blow that stunned us all. My pulse raced, sweat sticking my polo to my skin in the July heat, as I watched this entitled tornado spiral out of control. It was 2:05 p.m., minutes after Karen's hand met Sarah's cheek, and the Columbus Park was a tense stage. Kids gripped swings, their giggles replaced by stares. The slide towered behind Sarah, its metal shimmering in the sun, while Oak's shaded benches where parents stood, phones raised like courtroom sketch artists. The "Play Nice" sign dangled, oblivious to the chaos, and security cameras on light poles recorded every second. Sarah's mother, Lisa, knelt beside her daughter, whose braces clinked as she shook. "You're safe, honey," Lisa murmured, her voice taut with fury. Karen loomed, sunglasses perched on her head, purse clutched tightly. Her son, Tim, lingered behind, scuffing the dirt, clearly wanting to vanish. "She's faking it," Karen hissed, her words venomous. "This kid's not disabled, she's bullying my Tim for attention." The claim hit like a shockwave, the crowd gasping as one. Sarah's sobs quieted, her hands clinging to Lisa's arm. Lisa sprang up, face blazing. "She has cerebral palsy, you heartless woman," she shot back, her voice ablade. "How dare you call her a liar?" Karen sneered, unfazed. "Cerebral palsy? Sure. She's just lazy, and you're a failure for enabling her." She yanked her phone from her purse, its beep cutting the air as she filmed Lisa and Sarah. "This is for the police child endangerment." I couldn't stand by. Stepping forward, I positioned myself between Karen and Lisa, my tone firm but calm, like defusing a bomb. "You've gone too far. Apologize to Sarah and stop this." My backpack sat on the bench, first aid kit useless here, but my resolve was unshakable. Emily, my granddaughter, watched from the swings, gripping a friend's hand, her eyes wide. I gave her a quick nod, "Stay there," and faced Karen again. Parents closed in, a ring of outrage. Bill, a retiree in a worn baseball cap, leaned on a bench, grumbling, "She's unhinged." His phone recorded steadily, a silent ally. Tom, a dad in a polo, moved beside Lisa, his voice steady. "This isn't right. We're with you." Tension hung heavy, Sarah's soft cries piercing the crowd's murmurs, the swings now still. Karen pressed on, undeterred. "You're all ganging up on me," she barked, waving her phone, "filming me now. This man's threatening me, and that woman's raising a fraud." Her heels ground into the pavement, sunglasses wobbling. "I'm calling the cops, you'll all pay." The threat was absurd, but the crowd's murmurs grew sharper. A mom in yoga pants snapped, "You're the one who hit a kid." Lisa trembled, arm around Sarah, who gripped the slide's railing. "You don't get to assault my daughter and play victim," Lisa said, her voice fierce despite the shake. Karen's smirk widened, thriving on the drama. The slide's shadow fell over her, making her look like a caricature of arrogance. I held my ground, heart thumping. "You struck a child. You don't get to twist this." The words landed hard, and Karen's eyes narrowed, but she didn't relent. The playground was a tinderbox, and she was tossing sparks. Bill's phone stayed steady, Tom stood firm for Lisa, and those cameras kept rolling, their lenses cold witnesses. Karen's lies were grotesque, but her next move tipped us closer to the brink. This wasn't just a playground anymore, it was a fight, and I wouldn't let Sarah or Lisa face it alone. As Karen's voice grew shriller, I knew this wasn't just a spat, it was a showdown. The Columbus playground, still reeling from her slap and vicious lies, thrummed with fury. Karen Mitchell, sundress swirling, stood unyielding, her oversized sunglasses teetering on her head, purse flailing as she railed against Sarah, the 10-year-old with leg braces now huddled against her mother, Lisa. My pulse hammered, my polo clinging to my sweat-soaked back, as I braced for her next move. It was 2:10 p.m., July 12, 2025, and the park was a tinderbox. The slide towered behind, its metal flashing in the sun, while Oak's shaded benches where parents formed a tight knot, phones aloft, filming. The "Play Nice" sign dangled in cruel irony, and security cameras on light poles whirred, catching every second. Sarah's soft sobs sliced through the crowd's murmurs, her braces glinting as she leaned into Lisa, who stroked her hair, eyes alight with righteous anger. Karen wasn't slowing down. "This brat doesn't belong on the slide," she screeched, accusing us all of enabling bad behavior. Her words were a match to dry grass, and I'd had it. Stepping closer, I fixed her with a stare. "Let her go now, or you're in deep trouble," I said, my voice low, sharp, like a blade drawn slow. My backpack sat useless on the bench, but my will was iron. Emily, my granddaughter, stood by the swings, eyes wide, small fists balled. Then Karen lunged, seizing Sarah's arm, yanking her from the slide's base. Sarah yelped, her braces clanking, and the crowd erupted. Lisa surged forward, shouting, "Get your hands off her," but I was already there, blocking Karen's path. Bill, the retiree in the baseball cap, flanked me, grumbling, "Not today, lady." Tom, the dad who'd backed Lisa, joined us, forming a wall. "Step back," Tom said, his tone unyielding. Karen's grip tightened, nails biting into Sarah's arm, and Sarah's cries stabbed the air. "You're all attacking me," Karen wailed, her phone now filming erratically, purse swinging like a pendulum. That's when Mike, a 35-year-old park ranger in a khaki uniform, pushed through, radio crackling. A parent's call had summoned him, and his arrival shifted the tide. "Ma'am, you're breaking park rules," he said, citing Columbus Park regulations. "Release the child and step away." Lisa, frantic, knelt beside Sarah, checking her arm for marks. "You're safe, sweetheart," she whispered, though her hands trembled. Karen scoffed, letting go only to jab a finger at Mike. "You're part of this scam. This kid's a menace." Her sunglasses slipped, her entitlement burning brighter than the noon sun. The crowd's shout swelled. A mom in sneakers barked, "Leave her alone," while kids on the swings gaped, frozen. I kept my stance, heart thumping. "You've assaulted a child," I said, each word deliberate. "Back off, or it gets worse." Karen's eyes flashed, but she faltered as Bill and Tom stood firm, their barrier a silent vow. Mike's radio crackled again, his voice calm but final. "Ma'am, I won't ask twice. Leave now." The slide's shadow stretched, the oaks whispered, and those cameras kept rolling, their lenses cold witnesses. Karen's grip on Sarah was the last straw. Justice was closing in. The playground wasn't just a park anymore, it was a line in the sand, and we weren't letting her cross it. When Karen climbed the slide, the playground turned into a circus of chaos. Karen Mitchell, her sundress now creased, sunglasses dangling around her neck, had released Sarah's arm only to launch a new spectacle. The Columbus Park, already a pressure cooker after her assault and venomous accusations, buzzed with disbelief as she scrambled up the slide's ladder, blocking it like a tyrant claiming her throne. My heart thudded, my polo soaked through, as I watched this entitled cyclone spiral into absurdity. It was 2:20 p.m., July 12, 2025, and the playground was a stage for Karen's meltdown. The slide gleamed under the sun, oaks casting shadows over benches where parents filmed, phones steady. The "Play Nice" sign hung limp, and security cameras whirred on light poles, capturing every unhinged moment. Sarah, safe now with Lisa, clutched her mother's hand, her leg braces glinting as Lisa checked her arm for bruises. Emily, my granddaughter, stood near the swings, eyes wide, while the crowd's murmurs churned into shouts. Karen, perched atop the slide, shouted, "No one uses this until that girl's banned." Her voice cracked with desperation, and in a fit, she kicked over a nearby trash can, sending soda cans and wrappers spilling across the pavement. The clatter echoed, her purse hitting the ground unnoticed, contents scattering. "I'll sue this park for endangering my son," she bellowed, her phone still filming, now aimed at the crowd like a weapon. I was done watching. Heart pounding, I pulled my phone from my pocket and dialed 911, reporting Karen's assault and disorderly conduct under Ohio Revised Code Section 2903.13 and Section 2917.11. She's attacked a child and is causing a scene, I told the dispatcher, my voice steady despite the chaos. I signaled Mike, the park ranger in his khaki uniform, to secure the area. His radio crackled as he nodded, moving to block the slide's base. "Ma'am, get down, or you're facing charges," he warned, his tone sharp. Bill, the retiree in the baseball cap, kept filming, narrating, "She's lost it." His phone caught Karen's every gesture, a digital gavel waiting to fall. Tom, the dad who'd formed our barrier, knelt to gather the spilled trash, rallying other parents to help. "Let's keep this place decent," he muttered, his calm a stark contrast to Karen's frenzy. Lisa, still with Sarah, whispered reassurances, her eyes darting to Karen with barely contained fury. Karen doubled down, accusing Mike of collusion. "I'm exposing this corrupt park," she shrieked, her sunglasses now tangled in her hair, her filming erratic. The crowd jeered. A dad in a t-shirt yelled, "You're the problem," while kids on the swings whispered, confused. The air was thick with tension, the slide's metal creaking under Karen's weight, children's cries mixing with adult shouts. I stepped closer, my voice cutting through. "You're scaring kids and breaking the law. Get down now." My backpack still sat on the bench, useless for this mess, but my resolve burned hot. Karen's eyes locked on mine, wild with defiance, but the crowd's outrage was a rising tide. Mike's radio crackled again, his call for backup clear. Bill's footage rolled, Tom's cleanup continued, and those cameras on the poles kept their silent vigil. Karen's slide stunt was chaos, but the law was about to take over. The playground wasn't just a park, it was a reckoning, and her tantrum was running out of runway. As police sirens wailed, Karen's tantrum met its match, and justice roared. Karen Mitchell, now a disheveled spectacle atop the slide, her sundress wrinkled, sunglasses dangling around her neck, clung to her phone, still filming as if it could save her. The Columbus playground, a cauldron of chaos after her assault on Sarah and trash-can tipping stunt, pulsed with anticipation. My heart hammered, my polo drenched, as I stood firm, ready for this to end. It was 2:30 p.m., July 12, 2025, and the park was electric. The slide's metal gleamed, oaks shaded benches where parents filmed, phones unwavering. The "Play Nice" sign sagged, and security cameras on light poles recorded the finale. Sarah, safe with Lisa, held her mother's hand, her leg braces catching the light as Lisa checked her arm, relief mixing with anger. Emily, my granddaughter, hovered near the swings, her eyes bright with awe. Sirens cut the air, and two Columbus police officers, Smith and Lee, arrived, their cruiser parking near the Oaks. They moved swiftly, reviewing Bill's phone video and the park's security footage, which confirmed Karen's assault on Sarah and disorderly conduct. Officer Smith, a no-nonsense type, approached the slide. "Ma'am, you're under arrest for assault and disorderly conduct," he said, his voice like gravel. Karen flailed, sliding down awkwardly, her purse still on the ground, phone clutched tight. "This is persecution," she howled as Lee handcuffed her, the clank of metal echoing. Her sunglasses and phone were secured by police, her purse retrieved from the litter-strewn pavement. The crowd erupted in applause, a thunderous chant of "good riddance" rolling through the Oaks. Bill, the retiree in the baseball cap, grinned, his video now live on X with hashtags #PlaygroundKaren and #JusticeForSarah, racking up thousands of views in minutes. "That's what you get," he muttered, his phone still rolling. Parents high-fived, kids on the swings cheered, and the slide creaked as children reclaimed it, the park's joy creeping back. I moved to Sarah, kneeling to check on her. "You okay, kiddo?" I asked. She nodded, a weak smile breaking through. Lisa mouthed a thank you, her eyes glistening. I called Sarah's pediatrician to ensure her arm was checked, then turned to Mike, the park ranger, his khaki uniform crisp despite the chaos. "Thanks for stepping up," I said, shaking his hand. He nodded, securing the upright trash can and Karen's fallen purse, now in police custody. I glanced at Emily, who ran over, and offered Sarah her ice cream money. "For you," I told Sarah, who beamed. Karen's arrest was the talk of the town, her concerned parent facade shattered. Her employer, a local boutique, suspended her pending investigation, the news spreading like wildfire. Bill's ex-post surged, comments roasting Karen's disability denial while praising Sarah's courage. The cameras on the poles stood silent, their footage now evidence, and the playground exhaled, the slide alive with kids again. I faced the crowd, raising a hand. "We did right by Sarah," I said, and they cheered louder. Tom, the dad who'd helped clean up, clapped my shoulder. "Team effort," he said. Lisa hugged Sarah close, the tension in her face easing. Karen, led to the cruiser, still muttered about injustice, but her voice was drowned by the crowd's triumph. Karen's arrest was dramatic, but her legacy was just beginning to unfold. The playground wasn't just a park anymore, it was a victory, and we'd fought for it together. Karen's slap didn't just hurt Sarah, it sparked a movement for kindness. The Columbus playground, once a battleground for her entitlement, now hummed with renewal. Karen Mitchell's arrest on July 12, 2025, was the climax, but the aftermath wove a richer story. My polo was dry now, my backpack slung over my shoulder, as I stood in the park weeks later, watching kids play under the oaks, the slide gleaming like a promise kept. By August 2025, Karen faced the music. She pleaded guilty to assault and disorderly conduct, slapped with a $1,500 fine, $1,000 for assault, $500 for disorderly conduct under Ohio Revised Code Section 2903.13 and Section 2917.11, and 100 hours of community service at a local disability support center, a poetic twist that had me chuckling. The park banned her for life, enforcing its zero-tolerance policy for violence per Columbus Park regulations. Her purse, phone, and sunglasses, confiscated during her arrest, were returned via police, but her dignity? Long gone. Bill's X video, tagged #PlaygroundKaren and #JusticeForSarah, exploded to 150,000 views, trending locally. Comments tore into Karen's disability denial, while lauding Sarah's resilience and our stand. "This grandpa's a hero," one user wrote, and I couldn't help but grin. Local news picked up the story, interviewing Lisa and me, the segment painting our community as a beacon of solidarity. Reddit's r/entitled people would have eaten it up. Karen, a real estate agent, watched clients flee, her reputation crumbling faster than her slide stunt. The park didn't just recover, it thrived. A Playground Heroes event in late August honored Sarah and me with plaques, mine now gleaming on a park wall. A new inclusive slide, funded by a $10,000 community donation, was unveiled, its ramps and supports designed for kids with disabilities. Sarah, now 11, spoke at the event, her voice steady. "Everyone deserves to play," she said, her leg braces catching the festival lights. The crowd roared, and Lisa, beaming beside her, wiped away tears. Standing there, I reflected on that chaotic day. Karen's outburst wasn't just a tantrum, it was a mirror, showing what happens when entitlement festers. It reminded me of Emily's own run-ins with bullies, how I'd taught her to stand tall. This park, this fight, was for every kid who'd ever felt pushed aside. "This place is for every child," I said at the event, my voice carrying over the cheers. "Let's keep it safe and kind." The crowd nodded, their applause a vow. The lesson hit hard: empathy trumps arrogance, and respect, especially for those with disabilities, builds stronger communities. Karen's downfall proved entitlement's cost, while our unity showed what's possible when we stand together. The new slide, the plaques, Sarah's smile, they were our victory, etched in steel and sunlight. Loved this story of justice and playground unity? Hit that like button, share it with your friends, subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to ring the bell for more inspiring tales. The festival lights danced, kids' laughter filled the air, and the oaks stood sentinel, whispering of a park reborn. In a playground where every child deserves to soar, one Karen's tantrum only lifted us higher.